You may have heard that the search for COVID-19 vaccines and antibodies is being done much faster than normal. This is true, but we're not cutting any corners or skipping any steps. Our primary concern is the safety of people who will receive the vaccine. Before people join studies that test vaccines or antibodies, scientists thoroughly test them in the laboratory and in animals. Scientists use information from these studies to decide if the vaccine or antibodies should be tested in people. We only move ahead with studies in people if the animal studies show that the vaccine or antibody appears to be safe. When scientists test the vaccine or antibody in people, they always do so in 3 main steps or phases. In phase 1, we test the vaccine or antibody in a small group of people to make sure it to appear safe. The goal of phase 2 is to make sure the vaccine looks safe and that we have what we think is the dose that could be most effective. Phase 2 studies are done after phase 1 studies have shown that the vaccine or antibody appears to be safe. In phase 2 studies, we test the vaccine or antibody in a few hundred people to see if there are any safety concerns that were not seen in phase 1. Phase 2 studies also help us decide how much and how often we should give the vaccine or antibody. The studies we are doing now are in phase 3, so we have already completed these first 2 very important steps. And that's where several vaccines are as of December 2020. These types of studies enroll thousands of people. A phase 3 study doesn't start until the U.S. Food and Drug Administration and an independent group of scientists and doctors review the information from the studies that have already been done. They look at information about the safety in people and animals, and they look at the information from people's blood and nasal samples to see if they think that the vaccine or antibody might protect people from getting the virus. The phase 3 study cannot start without the approval of this independent group called the Data Safety Monitoring Board. They watch over the study until it's finished. Just like we do in the earlier studies, in phase 3 studies, we also keep a close eye on safety across the thousands of people who joined. We also look to see if the vaccine or antibody actually prevents people from getting sick, or if it can help to prevent people from developing such severe illness. When scientists develop a vaccine or antibody, they usually don't start phase 2 studies until the phase 1 studies have finished, and they don't start phase 3 studies until after the phase 2 studies have ended. Normally, the time in between phase 1 and phase 2 is several months, and between phase 2 and phase 3 can be a year or more. This time is needed for planning and raising money to do the large study. With COVID-19 vaccines, these time periods have been greatly reduced. Everyone involved, including the FDA, is working 7 days a week to make sure data are reviewed as soon as they're available. Importantly, the manufacturing procedures that are required to go from small to large batches of vaccines are being compressed, and they are being paid for by the United States government so that companies do not have to raise money for these large trials. In the search for a COVID-19 vaccine or antibody, we are overlapping some of the steps instead of doing them one after the other. But we aren't skipping any of the steps. COVID-19 has impacted all of us. To stop the virus, we urgently need a vaccine for prevention. We need to work quickly, but not at the risk of anyone's safety. Learn more at covidvaccinewa.org.